There was once a man named Elias who lived in a small town pressed against the edge of a wide and unforgiving desert. Elias was careful with everything he did. He kept his money tucked away in jars, stored grain in sealed containers, and counted every drop of water before pouring it. People admired his caution, saying, "Elias always knows how to protect himself." But inside, he often wondered if he was truly safe at all. To Elias, trust was something you placed only in what you could see and hold. Faith, on the other hand, felt like leaning over a cliff with nothing but air beneath you. He believed in God, but he kept his belief at arm's length, never risking too much on it. Then came the year the skies forgot how to rain. The soil cracked, fields turned to dust, and even the strong cattle groaned from thirst. Families struggled to survive. Elias worked day and night, guarding his food stores and rationing water to his family. He thought, if I plan well enough, I can make it through. But week after week, his supplies shrank. His jars grew lighter, his shelves emptier, and his hope began to tremble. One evening, as Elias sat alone by the last dim candle in his home, he felt something stir deep within his heart. A quiet voice pressed against his thoughts, "Go to the desert. There I will provide for you." Elias blinked in disbelief. The desert, that was where men went to die. Out there was nothing but sand and heat. No wells, no food, no safety. It felt absurd, even dangerous. He whispered, "Surely, that cannot be from God. Why would he send me to emptiness?" But the impression only grew stronger in the following days. At night, when Elias tried to sleep, the words returned like echoes, "Go to the desert." By morning, his stomach churned with worry. Trusting God suddenly felt less like faith and more like risking everything. Finally, with trembling hands, Elias filled a small leather pouch with water, tied bread into a cloth, and kissed his family goodbye. He stepped into the desert, each foot sinking into scorching sand. The sun burned his skin, and the wind howled across the dunes. Every step felt like a mistake. By the second day, his water was nearly gone. Doubts struck him like arrows. What if I heard wrong? What if God does not show up? What if I lose everything I have left? Elias nearly turned back, but something in him whispered, "One more step." On the third day, when his legs were weak and his throat cracked with thirst, Elias stumbled forward, and fell to his knees. Before him stretched a pool of water bubbling from the earth. Around it, palm trees cast shade, figs ripened on branches, and birds dipped into the spring. Elias cried out in awe. The place was real. God had led him here, to an oasis hidden in the wilderness. He pressed his hands into the cool water, splashing it across his face, laughing and weeping at the same time. He had thought he was walking into death, but instead, God had guided him into life. That night, under a sky full of stars, Elias reflected on the journey. He finally understood something he had resisted for so long. Trusting God will often feel risky because it pulls us beyond our control, beyond what we can calculate or predict. It calls us to step where we cannot see the ground. It asks us to place our future in hands we cannot physically touch. And yes, it feels dangerous. But that risk is also the doorway to miracles. When Elias returned to his town, he was not the same man. He no longer bragged about how much grain he had stored or how wisely he planned. Instead, he carried a story. A story that reminded everyone that faith will always look like stepping into the desert, but it is in the desert that God shows us his living water. If you made it to the end, tell me what you learned from another man's mistake that what you can relate to.